Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats. Lion-O is a cunning leader known for his great strength and agility. He wields power with the magical airship of his forefathers, the Sword of Omens, which allows him to see faraway lands and to contact the Thundercats when there is impending danger. Lion-O is also able to avoid perilous situations from the guidance received from Jaga, who advises him spiritually. Although Lion-O is a ruler, he is a child in a man's body, constantly challenged to grow moral strength through the code of Thundera. Justice, truth, honor, and loyalty. And Lion-O always succeeds. Lion-O made his first appearance in the Thundercats' first episode, Exodus. Lion-O was only a boy when the Thundercats' planet Thundera was about to explode and they left on a journey to find a new home. Soon they were attacked by mutants in an attempt to steal the Eye of Thundera. While the mutants were stopped, the Thundercats suffered heavy losses and their flagship was damaged. They were on their way to Third Earth, but the trip was very long and they had to go into suspended animation to survive. Unfortunately, the ship had to be piloted manually. Their leader, Jaga, being the oldest, volunteered to sacrifice himself to guide the Thundercats to their new home. The Thundercats' flagship landed on Third Earth. When Lion-O emerged from his suspension capsule, he soon realized it was damaged, and he was now a grown man. The Thundercats, now stranded on Third Earth, quickly learned that the mutants have followed them. Now, Lion-O leads the Thundercats, and they continue to battle the mutants as they defend their new home. Lion-O first appeared in Thundercats in 1985, produced by Rankin and Bass. Rankin and Bass, who are probably best known for their stop-motion Christmas specials. In the 80s, they produced what I like to call the Animal Trilogy. This includes Thundercats, Silverhawks, and the Tiger Sharks. Lion-O's next animated appearance was in the Thundercats reboot in 2011. He appeared in several comics published by Marvel, DC, Wildstorm, and Panini. In 87, Lion-O made his first appearance in a video game, Thundercats: The Eye of Thundera. Unfortunately, the game never had a release in the US. And the latest video game to feature the Lord of the Thundercats was in 2012 in Thundercats. It was based on the 2011 reboot and was made for the Nintendo DS. Lion-O comes in a black and white mailer box. In the center is the Thundercats logo. Below the logo is the character's name, Lion-O. And at the bottom right is the Thundercats logo. On the side is artwork of Lion-O, and on the other side is artwork of the Cat's Lair. On the back is not much but text. On the top is the Thundercats logo. On the bottom is nothing. Taking Lion-O out of the mailer box, he is in a nice window box package, and you can see the figure and all his accessories very easily. Behind the figure is a monochromatic red Thundercats logo. He holds the Sword of Omens and the Claw Shield in his hand and on his hips simultaneously somehow. On the upper left is the smaller collapsed Sword of Omens. On the right is his two alternate hands. At the bottom is artwork of Lion-O using Sight Beyond Sight. The Sword of Omens goes up all the way to the top, embossed on the clear plastic bubble. On the side is a gray monochromatic artwork of Lion-O. On the other side is the Thundercats logo in gray and the character's name Lion-O in yellow. On the back at the top is artwork of Lion-O with the Cat's Lair in the background. Below is Lion-O's bio, which I read earlier. On the top is the Thundercats logo, and on the bottom is not much but text. Now, let's free Lion-O from his plastic prison. Taking a look at Lion-O's sculpt, it's very good. He uses the standard Masters of the Universe buck, as well as some new parts. What's new is his head, the armor, the belt, the hands, and the boots. His head sculpt is great, especially the mane. Every little single strand of hair is sculpted amazingly well. He looks like he jumped right out of the cartoon. His armor is sculpted well. It's very accurate to the cartoon. It looks good from the back as well. Unlike most of the Masters of the Universe figures, Lionel's armor is not removable. The belt is sculpted well. It has 3 buttons on both sides of the logo. It has a nice texture sculpted on the belt. The texture continues on the back. It looks really nice. His hands are sculpted well. They look very realistic. He has cat-like nails, and the same thing with the other hand. He even has veins on his hands. They look very nice. His boots are sculpted very well. They are very accurate to the cartoon. Originally, I thought they were the same as the Filmation Skeletor figure, but I was wrong. They are slightly different. Taking a look at Lionel's paint, for the most part, he is painted well. In my opinion, the color they used on his skin, or in this case fur, should be a bit brighter. It should be more orange and less brown, but it's not bad. Looking at Lionel's head, the paint on his eyes is great. His eyebrows are well done. The subtle variation of color from his mouth to the rest of his face looks good. It's very accurate to the cartoon. Much like his face, you can see a very subtle variation of color on his forearm. Taking a look at his belt, you can see that the Thundercats logo is a bit off. If you compare it to the logo on the Sword of Omens, you can tell that the logo looks better on the sword. The 3 buttons on either side of his belt are a bit splotchy. There are a few splotches of paint on his boot, and a little bit of bleeding on the other boot. But overall, the paint is not bad on this figure. For articulation, Lionel's head rotates and it goes all the way around. It tilts from side to side and he can look up and down. He has articulation at the shoulder. It goes out and in and all the way around. He has rotation at the bicep, then it goes all the way around. He has a joint at the elbow and it bends like that. He has rotation at the wrist and it goes all the way around. He also has a hinge at the wrist and it goes forward and back. He has an ab crunch joint that bends forward and back, and he has a waist swivel that goes all the way around. He has articulation at the hip, and it goes out and in and all the way around. He has a joint at the knee that bends like that. He has rotation at the calf, and it goes all the way around. He has articulation at the ankle, and his foot goes down and up, and it also pivots from side to side. For accessories, Lionel comes with the extended Sword of Omens, with the Eye of Thunder displaying the Thundercats logo on both sides. The hilt is painted with a nice shimmery teal color. The blade is painted with a nice metallic silver. While the handle is unpainted, it is sculpted very well. It can be placed into Lionel's hands like so. Unfortunately, it is a bit loose. However, you can pose it so it looks good in his hands. Lionel's next accessory is the smaller collapsed Sword of Omens. It has a similar paint and sculpt, again with the unpainted handle and the teal painted hilt. This time the Eye of Thunder is painted open on both sides, with the pupil painted in a nice metallic gold. Again, it can be placed into Lionel's hand, but it fits loosely, but it still can be posed well. Next is his claw shield. I'm not sure why they went with this furry texture. In the 85 animated series, it had a smooth texture and was gold. However, having said that, it is sculpted and painted very well for what they were going for. It has 3 jewels on the knuckles that are painted and sculpted very well. It can be put on Lionel by first taking off his regular hand. Simply pull it off, then take the claw shield and look for the peg inside. Then push the peg into Lionel's hole on his wrist. Then you can pose it around. I think this is the best way to handle putting the claw shield on Lionel, instead of simply clipping it on his hand as the vintage figure did. Next is an alternate left hand. I'm not sure what its purpose is, as it's sculpted only slightly more open than the original hand. Again, pop off whichever hand is on Lion-O and place the alternate left hand peg into Lion-O's hole on his wrist. Next is a second claw shield. This one is sculpted almost identically to the other, except it has the Sword of Omen's handle sculpted on. This is to simulate Lion-O storing the sword in the shield. It also has a peg hole to place it on Lion-O's hip. There is a peg on Lion-O's hip. Simply take the shield and place it on the peg. It can be difficult, but I like to go back to front. And it hangs from his hip, and it looks nice on the figure. Unfortunately, it only looks right if he is not holding the Sword of Omens. The sword handle cannot be removed from this shield, so it doesn't make sense for him to hold the sword and have the shield on his hip at the same time. This is an example of a good idea not executed very well. Lion-O stands about 7 inches tall to the top of his mane. He has peg holes on the bottom of each foot. Comparing him to Jackalman and Filmation He-Man, Lion-O is a bit shorter than both of them. One reason Lion-O is shorter than He-Man is because of the different ankle articulation. Also, I believe the abs are different. And even though Lion-O is a bit shorter, it's not a huge difference. And Lion-O still fits well with other 7-inch scale figures, like Masters of the Universe Classics, Playmates TMNT 90s movie figures, and DC Multiverse Dark Knight Returns figures. However, he will not fit in well with 6-inch scale figures like Marvel Legends or DC Universe Classics. Unfortunately, I don't have any other Lion-O figures to compare this one to, but here is a picture of the vintage LJN figure and a picture of the Bandai Thundercats Classics figure. As you can see, there are a lot of differences between the three of them, and in my opinion, this new Mattel figure looks most like Lion-O as he appeared in the 85 cartoon series. So overall, Lion-O is a good figure. The positives are a great package, an excellent sculpt. He looks like he jumped right out of the animated series. The articulation is good. For the most part, the paint is good. The negatives are that the logo on the belt is a bit off. His hands have a loose grip. The extra left hand is kind of pointless. And the second claw shield wasn't executed very well. Otherwise, it's a very good figure. So my final grade for Lion-O is a solid B. I'm Tony Beers. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Thundercats, ho! This video is sponsored by the Crazy Kings of Toys. Check them out for all your toy needs and find out why they are so crazy. Find them at Amazon, eBay, Bricklink, and Facebook. Links are in the description. For more Toxic Pop, visit our website at toxicpop1.wixsite.com/toxicpop. Email us at toxicpop1@gmail.com and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/toxicpop1 and Instagram at instagram.com/wearetoxicpop. Links are in the description.